the Common Sense Real Estate Show.
A common sense approach to real estate.
Exactly. Thank you, Carmen Leonardo. I am Kurt Schenk of The Right Creative. People call me Boomer. You can all call me Boomer. It is allowed. Anyway, here at the Common Sense Real Estate Show, we deal with no-nonsense
Real estate. Yeah.
So, again, let's just bring in Carmen from Remax Realty Group, and here he is now. Tell us what's going on, just briefly, in real estate, and what you're up to, and what the market's doing right now. Just give a brief overview before we go to our guests.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. The market is really kicking up. The weather is improving, and more properties are coming online over the last 10 days or so, and buyers are out there hot and heavy, shopping, writing offers, and stuff's just going on. It's fantastic. And, if you are in the real estate market this year, buckle down and strap in, and let's get going. It's a fast one. So I'm excited. I'm really excited to do this show, really excited to hopefully impart some common sense approaches, kind of demystify this whole process, and, maybe along the way expose some shenanigans that are going on out there. Shenanigans, I said it.
Shenanigans, one of my favorite words.
So today, and I'll let you introduce them, but
we have some buyers in our little studio here today, here at Rock Vox. Thank you, Scott Fitzgerald, for helping us with the production. We have Tall Haring.
Hey, thanks for having me, Boomer.
And we have Devan Katsof.
Hello.
How's it going, eh?
A.
So we actually have two Canadians in the studio today.
A.
So Carmen is of your irk up there in the Great White North. So the greatest export from Canada is?
Molson.
Maple syrup, for sure.
No. Tim Hortons. My
God. Oh God!
Please, everyone.
It's the worst coffee in Canada.
I'm gonna try not to. I'm gonna try not to like totally butcher this, but I heard this one time. The difference between someone from, Toronto and someone from New York City, and in Toronto you might hear someone say something like, "Hey, stop leaning on my car, eh?" In New York City, you might hear someone say, "Hey, get off my car."
Yeah, I think that's,
you know what I mean?
It's spot on.
Yeah,
totally.
There we are, Boomer.
Hey, how you doing? I'm here all week.
Okay.
So anyway, let's get back to the focus of our show, because we're getting tangential right now. As buyers, you deal with a lot of buyers, and we have some young first-timers here. But let's just go back to you, Carmen. From the buyer's aspect, how does a real estate agent work for the buyers? How does that work?
Yeah, well, there's particularly with first-time buyers, there's a whole education process that needs to happen, and we help them understand what the process is going to look like. We help them get pre-qualified for financing. We talk to them about what their needs are, what their wants are. The one thing that I tell all of my buyers at the beginning of the process, and they kind of just roll their eyes like, "Oh yeah, right." But by the end of the process, if they reflect back, they'll say, "Oh yeah, this was right. He was right." By the end, when someone is handing you the keys to the house, right, I will probably know more about you than some of the people closest to you do, right? Because we'll know about your finances, we'll know about the things that you like, the things that you don't like. What's really cool is when you're, walking through a house with a couple, you pick up the body language, the idiosyncrasies, and the I like this, but he doesn't like this, kind of thing, and just really neat stuff. I mean, I had a buyer once. Every house we went to had to turn on all of the faucets.
Okay,
it's just weird stuff like that.
That's quirky.
Yeah. But and then we're also there to help the buyers, find the house that they're looking for, and sometimes it could be a needle in a haystack, and show them houses, walk them through houses, and then ultimately help them get something under contract and usher that contract through the process to get it closed, right? And
Right.
So we're there as they're confident. And, I think that all of my clients will tell you that I try to keep it fun because it has to be a fun process. But at the end of the day, it's also very important and very serious. And, we make sure that we do it right.
Great.
Yeah.
So we have our guest here again, Tall and Devan, and let's have you guys tell us your story. So we'll start with Devan. So what's going on?
Oh God, it's a long story actually with us. It's
We
not
we
so
have
easy.
time, not that much time, but we have time.
All right,
Go
we
ahead.
are recently-ish married. We got married in July.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Coming up on 1 year.
Almost this summer.
Almost.
Yeah.
Wow,
Wow.
Yep.
it's been a long year.
And you're still walking.
Maybe it's because we don't live together. Not really. But it's true. I am still in Canada. And
See?
we are currently waiting, hopefully, and sort of impatiently, but trying to be patient for a green card so I can
Okay.
move here. So when it comes to the home buying process, a lot of it lies on Tall's shoulders, unfortunately for him.
She said
But
process.
I appreciate it.
Huh.
It's definitely been a process.
Process.
Okay, I'll stop with that. No more oot in the boot. All right. So meaning Tall's kind of has to take the bull by the horn and kind of do all the recon, right? What are you doing with this process?
So here's
Get
pretty
closer
much,
to the mic there, buddy.
Here's how it works. Basically, is we get a listing from Carmen. Devan sees it. She texts me. I text Carmen, and we go out and see the house. And that's pretty much how it's been so far, except for weekends like this when you're here and we can actually go together. So on these weekends, we try to like stack a bunch of houses together.
Right.
Today we're seeing 3 houses.
Wow.
So, and it's like finally, because this market's just, there's nothing out. There's been nothing out all winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you guys have had a couple of experiences in the market. We actually did have a house under contract, about 2 months ago now? Not quite.
Yeah.
And, what happened there?
So we got the house. The house was ours.
Oh no.
But not quite.
I hear a dun 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 dun.
So this was like a nightmare process. We went to see the house, and probably I think the first day that it was out on the market, made an offer that day after like 20 minutes of just going through the house and seeing it. Carmen said everything was good. It looked great. It was in a nice neighborhood, nice house. It had 2 bathrooms, which is like unheard of in the city. So
You're looking in city
yeah, we're looking in like,
proper, or
We're looking we've looked a lot in like North Winton, Browncroft.
okay.
Today we're looking in Brighton
And Northland.
and North Winton
That's a
and
great
over by
area.
Strong
Yeah.
because Tall works at the U of R.
Ah.
So
it is a great area. The problem is that everyone thinks it's a great area.
So you had this house under contract, and we had everything rolling, ready to go. And what happened?
and someone outbid us in all cash after we signed the offer. And we were definitely emotionally invested already.
I mean, our lawyers had signed the contracts already.
Right. So that, Boomer, that's, we mentioned shenanigans
Yes,
before,
shenanigans,
and here we had a situation where the house was under contract. We had attorney approvals. My client's deposit money was received, and we were ready to go. And the seller just decided that he was going to change his mind. And we weren't even given an opportunity to change our offer. We were just, someone picked up the phone and said, hey, guess what? We received an unsolicited offer, and it's higher than yours, so we're going with that one. End of story.
And by the way, our offer was well over asking price.
Yeah, it was.
I just wish there was an expletive beep right now, because that's just. I mean, that. Scott, is there an expletive beep? Anyway, I won't. I will not curse. But that. I mean, this is uncommon.
Well, it's uncommon, but it's more common than we would like. That and all sorts of other kinds of shenanigans. We talked a little bit about the coming soon, and we talked about the delayed showings. Or we're going to talk a little bit about the delayed showings, where these guys will send me a house they want to go take a look at. And then, it's for sale, right? The sign's in the yard, it says for sale. And, then we try to schedule a time to go see it. And lo and behold, we can't see it until Sunday afternoon or some crazy day like that. So, is it for sale or isn't it for sale? And then you go Sunday afternoon and it's a zoo, right? There are like 30 people literally walking through.
God, really?
Yeah.
Well, before we go any further, I want to back up a little bit, because we are moving fast through your story, and we do want you to tell more of your story. But when you started the process, how and why did you contact Carmen?
So we heard of Carmen through my grandfather, actually. I think Carmen was my grandfather's realtor. They moved, like 10 years ago or something like that. And so I was having dinner with my grandparents one night, and I told them I was interested in getting a property, but I didn't know where to start, who to talk to. I didn't know anything about lenders or mortgages or anything like that. So they just recommended that I call Carmen. So it was on a referral base. And then we met up with Carmen.
So in hindsight, I mean, you're obviously actively shopping right now. And again, you're on the forefront while she's still dealing with getting. Do you have to actually climb the wall from Canada or not? No, there's no wall climbing. But is this something that's been helpful? You probably couldn't have done it yourself, right?
Oh,
No
absolutely. It's an intimidating thing to get into, especially as a first-time home buyer, because there's so many options. Like it's an exciting time, but there's also some fear because there's so much unknown. You have to do like some financial analysis. You have to get pre-approval and get a mortgage and do a lot of stuff. So it's nice to have somebody to help you navigate through that. And also when you're actually going to look at houses, like I don't know anything about like the structural integrity of a house,
right.
And I don't know what to look for. So yeah, it's definitely extremely helpful to have somebody with some expertise.
So Devan, he's sort of your eyes through this process until you can get here on weekends and go to these open houses. And how is the circle of a team trying to find a home together working on your end from a distance?
Well, thank God for FaceTime.
Okay.
We do a lot of FaceTime showings. But it's also really helped, I think, from the referral perspective. Tal's grandparents trusting you, Carmen, allows us to trust you a lot. And, the market's really different where I'm from.
In what way?
Like you couldn't buy half of a garage for what you can buy a house for here. So it's really different. So when we go to a house and Carmen says, listen, this house is overpriced, you shouldn't buy it. I'm like, what do you mean? There's no way. And it's so different for me. I need to have someone that I can trust. So we've seen a lot of houses where Carmen said, your grandparents will kill me if I let you buy this house. You're not buying it. And it makes us feel comfortable. So since I'm not here, that's really important.
And how are you determining this, Carmen? I mean, when you're going out with them and looking at what they need and what you know.
Well, we I could very simply just sell them a house, right, and be done with it.
Right.
But I would be doing them a grand disservice. What we look for is how that home is situated in the market compared to other homes, right? And its condition, not only the aesthetics conditions, but the mechanical systems, the roof structure, those kinds of things, how old they are, how old the furnace and air conditioning units, if it has air conditioning, are, and so forth. There's lots of lots of properties out there that in this market are overpriced, and buyers need to be very careful.
Yeah, but on what Devan's saying, that the way people are throwing bids around and then, throwing a wrench into their deal, for instance, with cash, I mean, it's seller's market. Possibly.
It is a seller's market, right? Just again, it's an inventory shortage is creating the seller's market. There's a low product. There's a little amount of product to buy, and there's a huge amount of demand. And pricing reflects that.
Okay. So back to you guys. What are you looking for? What is your dream home at this point?
I'm not sure we're looking for our dream home.
Okay.
We're looking for one to live in, though.
Okay. So starter?
Yeah.
Yeah, starter, single family home in a nice neighborhood.
Hopefully somewhere we can walk to a restaurant. That's key for me. I live in like a great walkable neighborhood now, and I love it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're both from the suburbs, so I think we're looking for the city taxes with a suburban feel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I get that.
There's only so many neighborhoods in the city that are like that. So
Yeah.
And proximity to work? Tell me about that.
yeah.
It's not a huge city, so it doesn't feel like that's like...
Well, it is a bit of a factor. So I work at the University of Rochester. So I don't really want to be out in Webster because if you hit traffic, it's like a 45-minute commute.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to stay within the city, but because there's so little inventory, we find ourselves branching out more and more and more and changing our budget around more and more and just to try to fit in with what's out there.
At the same time, Tal's a little weary about being too close to work. Like we're looking at a house today right by Strong, and it's like, is that
I can walk.
Yeah, is that too close? Like you can't get away.
Yeah. That's valid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm also a graduate student at Simon at the University of Rochester, so I'm on campus like 10, 11 hours a day. So I kind of feel like I want a place to just get away a little bit and not be right on top of campus all the time.
Yeah. Quick shout out to my dad, Professor Werner Schenk, who just retired from Simon School.
Yeah.
wow.
Werner's a great guy.
Yeah.
There you go.
So anyway, enough about me. Back to you guys. Have you seen or are you thinking school districts yet? Things like
No.
that?
No,
No.
we don't have kids. Not planning
Makes
to.
your job easier then, Carmen, right?
I guess,
or not?
Well, it just doesn't limit the opportunities, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing. The wider net you can cast, the more opportunities are going to be available out there.
So then in this situation where they really do have a kind of a defined search where I love that. We want city taxes with a suburban feel. What if that market doesn't bear? What do we do?
Well, I think that Tall and Devan have a pretty realistic approach here.
Mm-hmm.
And, while they would like to find a place, sooner rather than later, I don't think that we're in any particular hurry, right?
Okay.
So we're not just going to buy something for the sake of buying it. And we're not going to buy it in an area where, we're not looking. We're going to wait and we're going to be patient and, the right thing will come along. This isn't like going to, the store and buying a sweater and taking it home and saying, geez, I thought that this really brought the color of my eyes out, but now that I'm at home, I don't like it so much, so I'm going to return it. You can certainly return the home. We can put it up for sale as soon as you close on it, but you're going to take a bath, right?
Right.
So it's not something that we want to take lightly. It's an important decision.
So as first-time buyers, obviously you're renting, and renting has its benefits. Hot water tank goes, they come and fix it. Doesn't come out of your pocket. So tell me how you're thinking about the cost and liability to home ownership. Have you really figured that into your decisions?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little different for us because we're not currently living together because I'm in Canada.
Right.
And so part of that is that we'll hope that when I move here, it's like the same financial situation as we're currently in. So it helps with that. But I mean, Tal lives at home, so it's provided us some opportunity to do some saving, which is really helpful.
Right.
Because I've been renting for 4 years, so that helps for sure.
So I think more so than that, we think of the rent money that we've been paying over the past however many years. And we think, man, that could buy like a quarter of a house right now in Rochester.
Yeah, like my rent could have bought a quarter of a house that we're looking at already.
How old are you guys?
27.
27 as well.
Okay, so Carmen and I were talking before this episode. I'm going to be 56 this year, and I'm going, geez, I can't wait to rent again. I cannot wait.
A little bit of role reversal almost.
Yeah, it really, and this is really in this conversation, the one we had just before we were doing this podcast, and what you guys are talking about now. What is the benefit of buying a house for people who are in the 20s, 27?
Well, we've all heard this in one form or another, and I cringe every time I say this because I own my own rental properties.
Right.
But you're really, as a renter, you're just paying somebody else's mortgage, right? And you're not inuring any of the long-term benefits of wealth creation, right? So when you own your home, yes, you're paying for a mortgage, but you're also taking the risk, and you're taking the burden on, if you will, of having to maintain the home. So every 20 years you're going to need a roof. Your driveway is going to need to be repaired. The hot water heater is going to go. The furnace has to be replaced. You got to paint the windows. Any number of things, right? That you have to maintain.
Redo a kitchen,
right? Boomer just did his kitchen.
Yeah,
fantastic.
It does look good.
How long did it take, Boomer? Never mind.
Year.
Let's not get into
a
that.
year.
Not get into that.
Yeah, contractors will be nameless.
Yeah.
A year.
Yeah.
But the point being is that when you're renting, you're literally just, it's money going out the window. And when you're paying a mortgage and taking on the burden of maintaining the property, you are also creating wealth because presumably that property will appreciate in value.
Right.
And as you are paying down your indebtedness and the value goes up, you are gaining wealth. So when you go to sell it, hopefully it will have appreciated to a point where you'll have a very decent return on your money. There are still some tax benefits, writing off the mortgage interest and the real estate taxes. And so that's a good thing. And as a renter, you can't do that, right? So those are all on the plus side. Those are all good stuff.
And to add to that, I would just say there's a sense of ownership that makes people proud.
I was going to say there's also a sense of permanence. Like when you've been renting for 4 years, you have that feeling of like anything could happen. Like my landlord could just say, you have to move.
It's true.
So there's a real sense of permanence, especially when you're moving into to a new place. It helps you feel settled.
Yeah, and you don't got to deal with neighbors.
Yeah, sharing a wall. I live on the 9th floor of an apartment. The people next to me have 2 kids. It's loud.
And a dog.
Oh,
and
gosh.
a dog.
Yeah.
So you guys, so you're not going to own a dog when you get this new house, or?
Todd would like to own a dog.
I'd love to have a dog. I just don't want to deal with someone else's dog across the wall.
That's true. So what are the key things you're looking for, even though this is your starter home? What are deal breakers? What are things that you really are looking for that you want to have in your house?
2 bathrooms. It's like the top of our list, or at least the possibility to put one in, a second one in.
3 bedrooms, something nice, something we don't have to buy and then put in a bunch of money to fix things that aren't like the sexy things. Like you said, you're doing a kitchen renovation.
Yeah,
that's fun. Like you get something really nice out of that. But when you're fixing windows and roofs and driveways, at least I don't get that same feeling of like, awesome, I have a new driveway.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What are the prospects on something that are, I guess, not necessarily turnkey, Carmen, but ready to move in, and you don't have to really invest something in maybe about 5 years? What's out there right now?
Yeah, there's a mix of properties out there. There's always a bunch of fixer-uppers out there, and there's always homes that you can just move right into. Right, they're spick and span clean and completely updated. And then there's stuff that's in the middle. And it's always a balancing. Does it meet our needs? Does it have everything that we want? Is it in the right location? Is it in the condition that we want it in? So it's always a balancing. Always a balancing.
Okay. And Like I say, we're going to some open houses after this podcast. What kind of homes are we looking at today?
Well, we mentioned before we're looking at one home in Brighton.
Okay.
And then we're going to shuffle off over to a home that's in the Strong neighborhood. And then from there, we're going to go and look at an open house in the Winton Blossom area. I think they're, in different areas, and they're 3 different kinds of housing stocks and housing opportunities. So it'll be interesting to see the difference.
And Tull and Devan, what are the benefits of having Carmen with you at these open houses instead of just going there on your own?
Carmen sees everything that we couldn't see. For instance, last time I was in town, we went to a house that had soft close cabinets. I loved them. Loved them. And we walked out of the house and Carmen said, Devan, you're going to kill me, but you should not buy this house. And I think that was the right move. That house, I just saw it just closed, and it sold for over $20,000 over what they were asking.
Wow.
And you said things like, see that piece at the top of the chimney, that's expensive and it's a problem.
Yeah, the crown was falling apart.
I can't even hang a picture on the wall personally, so
sounds like me.
I don't know much about chimneys.
Yeah, and let's be clear. I'm not a home inspector.
I wrote down inspector. Yeah, so you're just kind of the initial boots on the ground,
right?
When you go to these homes with prospective buyers. So, with your experience,
yeah, it's my experience. I've been in so many homes and have been a part of so many home inspections. You just learn things vicariously. It's important to say I'm not a home inspector. I'm not an engineer. But there are things that are obvious that I point out. They're also obvious to my clients, but they're looking at the property from a different angle, right? Their angle is much more emotional. Much more, I can see myself living here, and this is where the cat's going to sleep, and and this is where I'm going to hang that picture of Bob Dylan, and it'll look really great here, and
Bob Dylan.
No, not in our house.
Not in their house. So they're looking at it from that standpoint, and I'm looking at it basically like a can of beans. You go to the grocery store and want to buy a can of beans, and what's the best value, right, for your money? And you don't want a can of beans that's all dented up and the label's torn off,
right?
It's got to be priced right. And I just don't have the heart to have my clients buy something that's a piece of junk. I don't roll that way.
Well, I would think that would affect your reputation too.
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. And this is why their Tull's grandfather. Felt that he could make a referral to me, and I would take care of his grandson.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, how are you guys feeling? You ready to see some houses today? You excited to hit the road with Carmen, and or are you stressed about it a little bit?
It's exciting. I mean, for me, it's always exciting when I can be here, but I don't have to see as many houses as they do. So,
okay.
These past couple weeks have been pretty encouraging because this winter was so dead with the properties. So in the past 10 days, I think we've gotten 30 or 40 houses up on our search. So
wow,
that's super exciting for us to finally see some houses that we could actually see ourselves living in.
Mm-hmm. We also increased the geographic area of the search the other day to include West Irondequoit, because it's a very similar housing stock that we're seeing in in the Winton Blossom area. So felt that we should also poke around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you guys, you've got that on Zillow listings and stuff like that?
Oh, no. We don't rely on the third-party websites.
Okay.
They're hooked up right with a search in the multiple listing service.
Okay.
And so as soon as a property is listed for sale, they will automatically get it in their email, literally within minutes. And that's the problem with those third-party websites. It could take up to 48 hours for a listing to populate there, and it could be gone by the time you see it there.
That's important.
Yeah.
So that's been helpful for you guys, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why it's really important to have a realtor, because if you wait and you see something on Zillow, it's in this market, it's probably gone already.
Okay.
So.
Those are words to the wise.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. We'll come back to you in a second. Carmen, how do people get in touch with you?
Well, the easiest way is to text me, and my cell phone number is area code 585-233-4119. I'm hoping that my friend Boomer at Right Creative can come up with a jingle someday for that telephone number. But until he does, it's 233-4119.
I sing best in the mornings.
You sing
in the shower.
In the shower. Fantastic. That's TMI. Too
Exactly.
Much information, TMI.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I just hope he's wearing his clothes in the shower.
Yeah,
That's all I
it's
gotta
always
say.
some sort of bathing suit.
Yeah.
Maybe two-piece. Anyway,
Hey.
we're about to wrap this up, and it's time for...
Hey, wait a minute.
What?
It's Carmen Cooks.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
don't
time for
forget about
Carmen
that.
Cooks.
All right.
This week, Carmen, what do we got?
Well, there is something that's kind of important when you're cooking, and that is the cooking oil that you use. And I'm a big fan of 3. Love avocado oil,
Me too.
and love my extra virgin olive oil, and like my plain old canola oil too. But they're all different, and I use them differently to cook with. I also use some oils to flavor with, like a nice hazelnut oil, flavored oil, or walnut oil on top of a tossed salad is really tasty.
Really? I have to do that.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Walnut oil, huh? So what's the difference? Avocado, I know, is a high burning,
It has a high smoke point.
high smoke.
Yeah,
so
yeah. And-
I'm no chef, that's for sure.
And I like to use that, to saute.
Okay.
Just throw some veggies in and just saute very lightly, and it really doesn't impart a lot of flavor. So you still get the crunchiness and the texture and the flavor of the vegetables that you're cooking. If I'm going to fry or deep fry, I like to use a canola oil, and that also is a very clean oil and does a fantastic job. I will make my sauce, my Sunday sauce. I will use my olive oil, my extra virgin olive oil, because that sort of is a cooking medium as opposed to something that I'm frying, right?
Right.
And that adds a lot of flavor and a lot of texture to the sauce. And I also use it liberally, on salads and so forth, more for flavor.
And any use of coconut oil or grapeseed oil?
I haven't really used grapeseed oil much. The coconut oil, I don't care for its fat content and how, what kind of fats are in it. Although I will tell you, if you want some fantastic, and I mean fantastic popcorn, use coconut oil. You swear that you're going to be in the movie.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, it's
You
good
heard
stuff.
it here
And
first.
that's this is what you get from Carmen Cooks.
Carmen Cooks. And this is what you can stock your pantries, your new pantries, when you're house shopping today with Carmen Leonardo of the Remax Realty Group. I'd like to thank Haring for being here today, and Devan Katsof for making it across the border legally. And good luck with your house shopping. It was really a pleasure to have you guys tell your story about first-time buyers and how that experience is going. I appreciate you guys being here.
Yeah,
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
fun.
thanks, guys.
Okay, that's yet another one in the books for the Carmen Sense Real Estate Show.
Hey, common sense to real estate.
Exactly, with Carmen Leonardo and me, Boomer. Again, you can text Carmen at 585-233-4119. You can get stuff free.
Yeah, well, we didn't mention it here, but we've got this glossary of real estate terms. Just like any industry, we throw around all kinds of acronyms. You know what I mean, right? Acronyms and words and tough words and big long words. And rather than looking at yourself and saying, "What the heck is he talking about?" You can get this for your very own. Just send me a text message or call me. Number is 585-233-4119. Be happy to send you a hard copy in the mail or a PDF by email. You decide what you want.
Which is at carmen.leonardo.remax.net. That's LONARDO.
Yeah, and if you want to do some real estate searches real quick, CarmenLeonardoandassociates.com.
There you have it. On the Move Realty on Twitter, and find them on Facebook and LinkedIn. And thanks for joining us again for Carmen Sense Real Estate with Boomer and Carmen Leonardo and our guest, Al and Tal and Devan. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you soon, folks. Thanks for watching.
Okay, bye-bye.